Good evening. I'm going to call the meeting to order at 7:30. Roll call: William Johnson.
Here.
Thomas Graffinino.
Here.
Lynn Colligan.
Here.
Lisa Kreckler is excused. Phil Diorio is here. And we have Tim Hill, ZBA attorney, via Zoom. First order of business tonight is to review and approve the April 23rd, 2025 minutes. You have a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So we have one application to discuss tonight on our work session agenda, and that's 8 Quaker Path. It's an application for a house that had a third story, finished third story. When the folks bought the house, in order to get a building permit to do other work, they removed the finished work on the third story, and now they would like to be able to finish it and have a finished third story. I'm going to open it up first to everybody here and see what your thoughts
Yeah,
are.
I appreciated the letter that we recently received by the homeowners. I also thought that the newspaper of the Pope passing in 2005 was very strong evidence of the date of 2005. I do respect the fact that the owner has removed everything and is seeking to make the space safe. However, I do believe because it's a third floor space, it would be precedent setting, and I'm very concerned about that.
Gentlemen?
I wholeheartedly agree.
I agree, Jim.
So,
It's a difficult, not only what's out there, but what's to come. I agree.
Till the town changes the code,
yeah,
there's much we can do about it.
I too am very concerned with setting some sort of precedent. I don't want to open the door because I think once the door is open, it's going to be hard to close. Everybody says, oh, nothing sets a precedent, and I understand nothing actually does, but sometimes if you approve something, the next time around, the court is going to approve it for you if you deny it. These folks seem like nice folks. They have had an opportunity. They've, built a cottage. They've done some renovating. They've finished some space in the basement. It seems to me that, they have created more space and more could be created, could have been created to alleviate the need for more space.
It's unfortunate because I realize it is not an addition and that it is safety driven. The fact that they were trying to make it safe for egress and fire. But unfortunately, the code states that there are no permitted third floor.
And, and it's a big ask, if you think that you're allowed 2 stories above ground level, and then you want 3, that really is a variance of 50%. That's a big number.
It's 900 square feet, I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
But not just a square footage,
Yes,
but going up another
Yes.
floor, when you have 2 and you want 3, that's 50% more. It's hard for me to see a pathway forward here for this. Is everybody kind of in agreement here?
Yeah, I feel sorry for them, but
Unfortunately, yes.
they're in a catch-22.
I just want to ask Tim if hey, Tim, are we missing anything that we really should discuss here?
No, I think, the way the code is written and the way the building department denial came through, the way you're discussing it is how the analysis has to proceed. And, in some ways, it's even a more generous way to approach it rather than a use variance. It's framed as an area variance. It is an area variance, even though, in nature, it's actually addressing an additional use, which would only be a an even more impossible burden for an applicant in this situation. So within the confines of what you can do as a zoning board to, grant dimensional relief, I think the issues that you're raising are the issues to evaluate this by.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Does everybody feel like we're ready for our worksheet here?
Yep.
All right, so part of the test, we'll have to consider the 5 variables. The first is whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties. I'm going to say no.
No, because of the
Yeah.
structures existing.
It's pre-existing.
Whether the benefit sought by the applicant can be achieved by a feasible alternative to the variance. Yes, I mean, for example, the cottage could have been built bigger. There could be an addition put on the house. There is space to do that. It's not as if there is no alternative. Is everybody kind of on board with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Whether the requested variance is substantial. I think we'd have to say yes.
Yes.
50%.
50%.
Would the variance have an adverse impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood? I'm going to say no, unless you're saying, well, every third floor place, every place with an attic will turn into that. But I feel like this is a no, that it really wouldn't have an adverse impact on the physical or environmental conditions.
No.
And you could say, oh, maybe it's going to intensify the use or whatever, but I don't know.
Parking or,
That doesn't seem like the intention of.
Yeah, so I would say no.
Yeah.
Yeah, and whether the alleged difficulty is self-created, yes. I mean, it's, I understand that when they were buying the house, they were aware that there was no CO for the 3rd floor, and and they did the right thing by tearing out the finish work, but the desire now to redo it, that's a self-created difficulty. And I don't know, is there anything else that any of you think that we need to specifically address here? Now, I'm just going to ask Tim. Tim, is there anything else that you feel that we should specifically address here?
No, just, we've gone through the factors, and as I've said before, those are meant as a tool for the ultimate balancing test that you do. So, again, it's the, the protections that you're trying to preserve for the town versus the benefit that the applicant is seeking, and, viewed through the lens of those 5 factors. So I think you've covered it all, as well as the concern for precedent, which, I think is stated, but is not the necessarily predominant. Ultimately, it's the facts of this case on its own merits, viewed through those factors.
All right. Thank you, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
Can I get a motion to close the work session?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I get a motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, Christine, we're